Okay, let's be honest. Filing a VA claim can feel like trying to solve a giant, complicated puzzle, right? It just seems so intimidating with all these forms and rules. But what if you had a map? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to lay out a clear, step-by-step roadmap that will guide you through the entire thing, from that first moment you think about filing, all the way to getting that decision letter in your hand. So, you ready? Let's get started.
And this right here, this is our map. Yeah, at first glance, the whole VA system can look like this big, overwhelming machine. But when you break it down, you see it's actually a structured journey with clear steps. Now, we're not going to get lost in every single box today. Instead, we're going to zero in on the parts that matter most, the moves you can make to build the strongest case possible.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We've got the big picture roadmap. Next, we'll dive deep into building your case. Then, we'll talk strategy, how to actually execute your claim. After that, we'll cover what happens on the VA's end, and finally, we'll talk about what to do once that decision finally arrives.
All right, let's get into the most important part of this whole process, building your case. Seriously, the work you put in before you even think about hitting that submit button, that is what makes or breaks a claim. This is where you lay the foundation for everything that comes next.
But wait, before you start digging through medical records or calling up your old buddies for statements, there is one critical move you have to make first. It's a super simple action that could literally be worth thousands of dollars in back pay, all because it locks in your effective date.
It's called an intent to file, and you can think of it like calling ahead to a busy restaurant and saying, "Hey, save me a spot in line." This little form tells the VA you're planning to file, and it protects that date for a full year. So let's say you submit your intent to file today, but it takes you 10 months to get everything together for your full claim. Well, if that claim gets approved, your payments get backdated all the way to today. It's a huge financial safety net.
And here's the best part. You probably don't even have to fill out the form itself. The second you start an application online at va.gov, boom, the system automatically creates your intent to file for you. It is, by far, the easiest and fastest way to protect that all-important effective date.
Okay, so you've got your date locked in. Now let's talk about the foundation of your actual claim. Every single successful claim is built on these 3 pillars. You have to have a current diagnosed condition. You have to point to something specific that happened in service, an injury, an event, whatever. And the big one, you need a medical link, a nexus that connects the two. You have to prove all 3, no exceptions.
And that third pillar, the nexus, well, that's where something called a nexus letter comes in. It's a medical opinion from a doctor. And check out the language here. This is so important. The VA doesn't need 100% proof. The standard is at least as likely as not. You know what that means? It means there's a 50% chance or better, basically a coin flip, that your service is connected to your condition.
And let this sink in. A well-written nexus letter can be the single document that wins your entire case. If you look at your service records and the connection isn't jumping off the page, getting a detailed letter from a specialist is an investment that pays off big time.
Now I'm going to throw a number at you that's going to blow your mind. 74%. Any guesses what that is? That's the percentage of all VA claims that are for secondary conditions. These are disabilities caused by another problem that's already service-connected.
And you can see exactly how this works right here. It's like a chain reaction. A service-connected back injury makes you walk funny, which then leads to arthritis in your knee. Or maybe service-connected diabetes leads to neuropathy down the line. This is why you have to do a head-to-toe check on yourself. You've got to think about how one condition can lead to another and another.
Okay, so you've done the homework and built a solid foundation for your case. Now it's time to execute. This part is about way more than just filling out some paperwork. It's about strategy. It's about taking all that evidence you've gathered and packaging it so it tells a clear, powerful story. And you definitely don't have to do it by yourself.
Honestly, the single smartest move you can make is to partner with a professional. A veteran service organization, or VSO, is like having an expert coach in your corner. They'll look at everything you've got, point out any weak spots, and help you strategize. They transform that pile of papers into a winning argument. And the best part? Their help is totally free. Your VSO is going to sit right there with you and go through the main application, the 526 Easy, and this is where their expertise is just golden. They know the system inside and out. They know the exact codes the VA is looking for, and they make sure every little detail is perfect to give you the best possible chance at the rating you've earned.
All right, you've submitted your claim. The ball is now officially in the VA's court. This next phase is all about what happens on their side of the fence. The medical exam, how they decide on a rating, and, well, They're a very, very unique way of doing math.
So, you are almost definitely going to be scheduled for what's called a Compensation and Pension Exam, or a CNP exam. This is the VA's own doctor checking out your condition. Let me be crystal clear about this. Attendance is mandatory. If you miss this appointment without an incredibly good reason, they can just deny your claim right then and there.
Now, when you walk into that exam, I want you to remember this one piece of advice. It's probably the most important tip you'll get. Talk about your worst days. We all have a tendency to put on a brave face, but if you go in on a good day and say, "Hey, I'm feeling all right," guess what gets written down? This isn't about exaggerating. It's about being honest about the full impact your disability has on your life. Okay, so after the exam, the VA gives you a rating. But you gotta be ready, because their math is not normal math. You might look at a 50% rating and a 30% rating and think, great, that's 80%. But in the world of the VA, 50 plus 30 equals 70. So, what's going on here?
It's all based on this thing called the whole person concept. Just follow along. They start you at 100% healthy. Then they take your highest rating, let's say 50%, and subtract it. You're now 50% disabled, which means you're still 50% healthy. Now here's the trick. They take your next rating, the 30%, and apply it to the healthy part that's left over. So 30% of 50 is 15. Then you just add that 15 to your original 50, which gets you to 65. Finally, they round to the nearest 10, and that's how you get your 70% rating. A little weird, but it makes sense once you see it.
We're in the home stretch. The final leg of our journey is all about what happens after that big brown envelope from the VA shows up. Whether it's good news or not so good news, you need to know what your options are.
And this is the question on so many veterans' minds. What do you do if you open that letter and you just don't agree? Maybe the rating is too low, or maybe they denied a condition you know is from your service. Well, the good news is, a bad decision is not the end of the line. Not even close.
You've actually got 3 different lanes you can choose from. You can file a supplemental claim if you have new evidence to submit. You can ask for a higher-level review, which means a more senior person looks at the exact same evidence, or you can go for a board appeal and make your case directly to a veterans law judge. Each path has its own purpose.
So look, if you take away nothing else from our little talk today, please remember these 4 things. 1. File that intent to file right now. Protect your back pay. 2. Do a full head-to-toe check on yourself for every possible condition, primary and secondary. 3. At that CNP exam, talk about your worst day. And 4. Never, ever think a denial is the final answer. You always have options.
You know, you've done your part. You served your country. Now it's time for the system to do its part for you. With this roadmap, it's no longer some scary maze. It's just a path. So the only question left is, what's the first step you're going to take to get the benefits you've earned?